All right. Welcome back to my podcast, everyone. Tonight, I wanted to talk about friendship breakups and kind of the grieving process that comes with that. I have been through my fair share of friendship breakups. I feel like I've sort of touched this topic before in previous episodes, very surface level. So I kind of wanted to dive deeper into it. I have cut a lot of people out of my life. Fortunately, I am somebody who will cut you out of my life. I will ghost you. I will leave. I will never talk to you again. Simply because if you're not adding a positive value to my life, my time is valuable and I don't think you deserve to be in it. I feel like normally when I'm experiencing something like this, it's never a certain event like that's a big dramatic thing to end the friendship. It's more like series of events over time where I'm just kind of like, I don't know about that. I didn't like how she treated me here. Like that was kind of hurtful. And I think a lot of the time a switch goes off in my brain where I'm like, okay, that's not my friend anymore. And as soon as that flip is switched, it's not getting flipped back on. Like I'm out. And it's not that I like hate you and like prey on your downfall. It's just that I don't think we should be friends anymore. So I've always thought like this. I've always believed in this. I have never really had an issue with doing this. I mean, sometimes I get sad. I'm like, oh, that was a great friendship that I lost, but then I kind of remind myself of why I lost it. And it's because I chose myself and that I deserve better than that friend was giving me. So, I wanted to share a story sort of. I don't know if I can like say it of something that happened between my best friend and I. We were best friends for like 3 years. Family vacations. She doesn't live here. Um, and she never did. So we kind of always had like a long distance friendship, which really sucked. But like we talked on the phone every single day. I'd go on my hot girl walk and she'd be my call. I'd be walking to class, like I'd call her. We're best friends. Um, she was gonna be in my wedding. Anyways, I still have a really hard time talking about this just because it's really sad to me that we are no longer friends. But anyways, for my birthday, she surprised me with a trip to fly out and see her. Um, and like got this Airbnb. It was super, super fun. Something happened on this trip that gave me that switch to be like, holy shit. I think that once you're in my close circle, it's really hard for my switch to get flipped off of our friendship because I will give you a lot of chances because you're in my life. I love you to death. You are like a sister to me. So I will never just flip a switch on someone who's been in my life for that long, that close with me. It's really easy to do so when it's like college roommates per se, but it's way harder when it's like your best friend we're talking about. And I give a lot of chances in those cases because I always feel like we can communicate through it, through the issues. With this friend, we had a few, I don't want to say tiffs, but just things that I didn't like the principle of what she was doing. And I think a downfall of our friendship is that I never felt like I could really bring up these things without hurting her feelings because I knew everything I said she knew. She knew what she has done previously was wrong. So I just never felt comfortable bringing it up because I almost like felt bad. Like I don't know, like that was just a weird soft spot I had for her. Anyways, I think a lot of my friendships, they don't flip that quickly. I feel like it's kind of like a process that takes me a while to think about it and weigh my pros and cons with the friendship and be like, okay, is this actually worth losing such a great friend over? And this situation put me in a scenario where it was a very split decision where I was like, whoa, get me the hell out of here. So I packed up my bag and I fled the state. I had the most insane airport experience. We had been drinking all day. And this ended up happening later at night, but it honestly wasn't that late just because we'd been drinking all day. And we were with these guys and we um I left and it was probably like 11 p.m. I was hiding behind like cars waiting for my Uber to pick me up because I did not want her to chase after me and like try and talk to me because I already made up my mind that like I just never wanted to see her again. That it was just like, get me out of here. I don't want to have to be here and deal with this right now. I need to get out of here. What just happened? She never even tried to run after me. It just hurt me a little bit more because I'm like, wow, like you like didn't even try to like come after me. And this is like, I didn't say anything. I just left. There was no communication of like, we can't be friends anymore. Like I left. There was eventually. So I get to the airport. I'm sobbing my eyes out. Like I'm hysterical. My poor Uber guy. My Uber driver was a saint. I get to the airport. It's like 11:30 probably and the people like working are like, "What? Like why are you here?" Because there's no flights. So I'm like, I need to get home. I don't this like flight isn't even under my name. I don't know what you guys can do, but I need to get home. And they're like, "Are you okay?" And I literally was like, "No." So the woman comes over and hugs me, which makes me cry even more. The guy's working his magic and he's like, "Okay, I have a flight at 5 a.m. departure, so 4:30 boarding, whatever. And we can get you on it, but it's standby." And I'm like, "Okay, like I'll take it." So I was on standby. Um, I overpack a lot when I travel. So I had a giant ass suitcase. Knew it wasn't getting through the whole thing, but just because like otherwise I can't check a bag until 3 hours before the plane or something like that. I don't really remember. So I would have like I was just stuck on the streets. So I'm like, okay. So in the meantime, she is spam calling me. She called me like 50 times. So I finally text her being like, "Hey, I can't talk tonight." I turned my location off. Like I wanted her to know nothing. Um, Her friend that I had met there starts calling me and I'm like, "Everyone leave me alone." Like no one understands what just happened in there. Only her and I. And like I can't. Like just let me go. So I tell everyone to fuck off. I go to the TSA people or not yeah, TSA escorts me to the only cafe that is before like you go through security. And I sit down and I am like, "Hey, like I need a large glass of wine." And he was like, "Please don't take this the wrong way, but it looks like you need it." I'm like, "Thank you." So he pours me about half a bottle into like a plastic cup, like very tall cup, right? I could go into so much detail about this, but I had the best airport experience. I thought I was gonna have a glass of wine, eat some food, and then like sleep somewhere. This guy saw me crying at this table, very small cafe. And he's like, "Mind if I sit?" I'm like, "Please do." He comes and sits down and I crack a joke. I'm like, "Oh, did you pack up your shit and leave too?" And he's like, "Yeah." Goes on to tell me the craziest story about him and his girlfriend in Hawaii. And I'm like, "What?" Then this other girl comes and sits down. I'm like, "Hey, do you want to join us? Like, what'd you do? Pack up your shit and leave too?" And she's like, "Yeah, I did." And I'm like, "Oh my God." So then she's telling us all about this like traumatic story that happened with her boyfriend. And I'm like, I'm taking the backseat on this one. I'm like, I'm flying under the radar. I'm like, I don't want to share what just happened because I'm so uncomfortable and haven't processed anything that had just happened. And so I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So then I finally end up telling them about what happened. And then these like, I swear, like these awesome girls come in who work at the airport and they were so cool. Anyways, this is when the night gets really fuzzy. Morning, I don't know. I was drinking until about 4 a.m. I'm not proud of this, but I basically blacked out at the airport. I don't know how I got home. I don't know how I got on the plane. We touched down on a Monday morning, and I'm like, "What happened to me?" I was still drunk. It was like 7 a.m. My brother picked me up and was like, "We need to get you like McDonald's. I can't take you home like this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you." So, anyways, I ended up texting her a few days later and I said, "I wish you nothing but the best. If I left anything at your apartment, please send it to me, but I cannot be your friend anymore." And that was that. I blocked her on everything because it felt like I was going through a really horrible breakup where I'm like, I don't even want to know what you have to say back. Like, I don't want to know anything. I just want to move on with my life and forget this ever happened. And of course, my fucking computer at work dinged her response through, and she just said, like, "Same to you." And I was like, wow. not even an effort to apologize. Like that really hurt. Um, Wish I never saw it. Anyways, so to my point of this whole story is that this type of friendship breakup is something I've never experienced before. And it's from going from like being so close with someone, like I felt like she knew me better than I like knew myself sometimes. And going from like really knowing each other and like being like sisters to nothing has been a huge challenge for me. Like I asked myself, like, was it worth throwing it all away? Should I have like talked to her about what had happened? How hard do you fight for someone you love? Because I'm like, would I have been able to get past that? Like, I don't know. How hard do you fight for a friendship in situations like this? When is it time to give up? When do I tap out and decide to just walk away? And could I have gotten past this? Like, did I screw up? Like, because I miss her so much. But like, I think everything happens for a reason. And I couldn't understand for so long what this reason would possibly be. But I think I'm finally learning after 7 months of this happening that I would have never had the willpower to up and leave our friendship. Even though there were flaws within our friendship, I didn't care. Like I didn't care because I had so much love for her. I would literally had like killed for her. That's how close we were. And I think God was like, or the universe was like, knew that she was bad for me and knew that I wasn't going to be able to walk away from our friendship. So the universe made something happen that knew I was going to have to get up and walk away from it. Like that I wasn't going to be able to get past it. Like something so dramatic that like would make me be like, fuck you, goodbye. Because I would never be able to do that on my own. So the process afterwards has just been a weird experience. I have dreams about her all the time. At first, I was having nightmares. I mean, every week I'd have at least one nightmare, like pretty traumatic nightmares. And then I started having dreams of her like coming and apologizing to me. And then I'd have dreams about like her trying to get back in my life. Like it was just weird. All the time I'd have dreams. I I do truly wish her the best, but then sometimes I'm like, fuck you. Like, I actually hate you and I hate your guts. I hate what you did to me. And I see myself getting negative and almost like preying on her downfall a little bit. But I think that is just my hurt in the situation talking where I'm like, I'm so sad that like almost that like she has never tried to reach out to like apologize and like get me back as a friend. Like that sounds stupid, but like, I don't know. I don't know if things would have been different if she had tried. It was just like I didn't recognize her and it like literally chills my body still. It was like I didn't recognize her. I was like, this friendship can't be worth it because a friend would never do that to me. And I think that's how I made my decision in a very split second where I'm like, that's not right. If you like a friend would never do that to me. I can't believe you just did that. So I don't know. I think I'm still struggling with it a lot. I won't lie. And I miss her a lot. And like sometimes like I just want to text her super casually because like normally it's like she's the person I text when like things happen where it's like I met this guy over the summer and I was like, oh my God, like she'd be so happy for me and like so excited about this. Like I want to text her, even though I also fear that she would try and fuck him because that was where we had issues. It's like still natural for me to be like, oh, like I wish I can text her about this guy I'm seeing, or like, I don't know. Like there's just a lot of things that's like still make me want to reach out and see how she's doing and check in because I do want nothing but the best for her. And it sucks that our friendship ended because we had like the best times together ever. Like I have great, amazing memories with her and it like makes me so sad. But it's one of those things where it's like you want to be happy that it happened, not upset that there's no more memories like that coming. So this one just felt different and a lot harder than anything I've ever gone through, even like breakups. Like this has just been confusing and difficult and sad and like infuriating, like all these emotions at the same time. And I never thought that I'd talk about this on here just because like I'm not sharing what happened, and like that's probably so annoying for you guys watching, and maybe I will one day, but that's why I never thought I'd bring it up. But I think that the grieving process after you lose a friend through something happening between you guys is something that I feel like is not talked about. And so I thought maybe it would be helpful to talk about it on here. If you're going through this, I'm sorry because I know that it sucks, and I think it's a canon event for women to experience something like this, and I just feel like we should come together and talk about our experiences and the grieving process of it. So it's not easy. I can always come off as like cutthroat and be like, okay, well, like you're out, bye, next. And that is how I am. I'm not going to lie. Like I'm very cutthroat, like you're not in my life anymore, goodbye. And that's how I was with her. But that doesn't mean it's easy. That really does not mean that the process of cutting people out of your life is easy. I'm not heartless because of it. And I know it comes off as heartless and bitchy sometimes, but it's not easy. It's just like a survival tactic in a way. That's all for tonight. Feel free to reach out to me if you've experienced anything like this. So, thank you for listening, and cheers and good night.